How can I explain also mind, and I thought of a bird, with two wings. So it transformed into a little heart with two wings. Huh? And it's this to show that when we are born, we have the gift inside, the gift of that consciousness, that open space. It is a free gift in the sense that we can do whatever we want with it. Huh? We have like a little doll that is born, and we can paint over his dress or pants whatever we want, any color. So the nature, or true nature, is really like a free gift, and we do whatever we want with it. That's how we get lost, because it can take any color we want to give it. So as we develop, we usually start here, into that wing. That wing grows. And that wing is sadness, depression, anger, boredom, and selfish desires, greed, jealousy. We cross that. That builds up. That starts coming into our glass. That starts coming into our consciousness, more or less. But these little layers starts building our identity. I am greedy, I am jealous, I am this, I am selfish. We start having a definition, feeling a little bit bad about ourselves and having a definition, more or less. Of course, I'm exaggerating here, but it's usually what is happening, more or less. And we have fears. So I'm afraid of that, I'm afraid of this. All of that starts building up as an identity. And we have guilt also. So all of this is ego. So without even going into detail, let's say yes to all of that, because it is within who we are. And we use it, and we use our true nature into that wing. So we develop a little bit like this, and we forget that at the source of it, there is still this emptiness, this awareness, not even emptiness, awareness, open mind, that can watch that wing and say, oh, I developed like that, but it's not who I truly am. I am that. Watching this. So I come back to the heart. And coming back here, it doesn't even matter what is here. It's just, oh, I'm aware. I'm open. The heart is the same as open mind. Open mind and the heart is exactly the same. To be into your heart, to keep your mind open. So you welcome all these layers. And that's one wing. That's a wing of existence. You welcome life and existence. That's life power within you. Because you're open to ego and open to life. The shutters open, so you see the world. And you realize the world and who you are is an open window, an open space. So that's one wing. And as you go on the spiritual path, you may go to the other wing. Wow, I meditate a lot and now I find emptiness and void and maybe even spiritual powers. Wow, I'm so special. I'm so extraordinary. So that's another wing, and a very subtle one that can take you away from the true heart. Because here it is extraordinary. So you lose the simple place of steady awareness. That which is completely indifferent to both high and low. That simple place that is just an open room to all that is. You have an empty house, fine. I see it. You have a full house with so many emotions, I see it. It doesn't matter from that place. It has no definition in that sense. It's just a total, full, simple openness. So no spiritual powers is not a sign of self-realization also. And that's also a big trap. It still comes from a movement of the will. There's still a desire to know beyond normal, ordinary state of mind. So you can get that. It's the same with enlightenment. Usually you get it because you want to know. There is still a will to know. So at one point you see that and you realize, wow, it's all-knowing and powerful. But if you are not caught by the will for power, you come back to that ordinary state of mind that is just, wow, it doesn't matter, nothing matters. And knowing is within who I am, but I don't even know to know. I don't even need to know. So it's coming back, the heart is coming back to the state of innocence. No will of any kind, except a natural movement. No desire to create things, to get more money. You know, there is all these secret theories also. If I visualize that, or if I imagine I can have a good job, a good amount of money, a good husband, a good, So this place has no desire at all. It's totally powerless. There is no desire for anything. You just completely surrender because you know that who is within, that place within, who you are, is absolutely powerful by itself. You don't need to wish for power. That spontaneity, that presence within, does everything. Just totally let it be. And be in union with it, but in a natural way. So that's coming back to the heart. So we have these two wings, and they are beautiful, and they are part of who we are. Maybe that's a trinity. But essence, existence, and pure consciousness. Essence is here, existence is here, and pure consciousness in the sense that it is free from identifying with either, high and low. It is completely free. In the sense, it is really nothing in that sense. A simple, open mind. So don't forget these little wings, and then you are not trapped by anything. You can remain in the natural state, in that simple openness. And when we talked yesterday about great perfection, or not, is that sometimes you start opening to that. So what is perfection and what is great perfection? Great perfection doesn't matter. But what is perfection is always here and now. And what I mean by that here and now is that it doesn't matter what is in your right wing. It doesn't matter. If at any time you recognize that as being just a simple wing of life, you recognize it and you have no duality with it, you're back here. You're back into your own perfection. So it doesn't matter what is within your mind. It doesn't matter what is within your state of consciousness. As long as you see it and are not in duality with it, you're back into there. And this place is what? Simple relaxation with what is here and now. Simple relaxation, non-duality with what is here and now. So this doesn't matter. Don't even try to eliminate it. Watch it, be at peace with it, and you're back to the heart. And after being at peace with all these layers again and again and again and again, they start vanishing, vanishing, vanishing. And you may come to a point where all of this doesn't have an influence on you anymore. So this is a great perfection. You're in the state of steadiness. But it doesn't matter. Because you can reach that steadiness here and now by having no duality with what is within your right wing. And when you're here and you have either spiritual powers you can see, and there is always a little seed of manipulation in any spiritual power. So this we should not forget. If at one point there is a challenge, who has a light, innocence will be used by powers and manipulation. So innocence is a place to be because it is absolutely powerless and innocent. It is absolutely open in that sense and cannot manipulate anything. So don't try to have spiritual powers except if they manifest and you can be with them, but not be aware that you can play with them. And that's always a little danger. But if you're here, just watch it. If there is void and total emptiness because you're fine within your house, but you closed the door to the outside, to that place, you close a little bit the wall, so you're perfectly fine within your house, and you're perfectly at peace, and you can know bliss, and you can know the void and emptiness, but don't identify your nature as bliss and void and emptiness, because it is also a definition. It is also a trap. And in that trap there is spiritual idealism and the spiritual ego. You're someone special now. So you play a role. And you cannot actually open to these little shadows who are still manifesting around, so subtly, that they are around your house and you don't want to see them. So you don't completely open the door to existence, to life, to your ego, And in that sense, there is emptiness which is felt as absolutely nothing, as a void. And usually people experience the fear of emptiness and the fear of the void here. Because there is no connection to the ego, there is no connection to life. So to get out of this void, come back down a little bit. See these tendencies and come back down to the heart, to that simple place of recognition of what is here and now. Oh, this is what is happening now. And I also detach from that. Great freedom is detachment from both what is high or empty and from what is full or appears full. And then what happens? You're just yourself. I am myself. That's it. Natural in the body-mind, that openness, that space manifests as your nature. And that nature, whatever is happening around, if you have made peace with your ego, if there is criticism outside, here I feel strong and steady. So I can even be open, but I simply take distance. You know, you behave naturally. I'm still open to that person, I completely understand, but I take distance. And here, there is someone who's a warrior, or, same, I completely understand, but I may move around until I find there is a natural movement here, and I stay and I move around these people, and if everybody, I can move around everybody, but with awareness, not as only love that is totally open, but can get still heat. So you move around with awareness, and that's a natural state. And here, and you feel, wow, here it's strong and steady, simply because you know who you are, and you're at peace with all of that. You are clear with all of that. So it feels strong and steady. And when you don't feel strong and steady anymore, okay, it's a little passage, it will pass. So you're always into that strength and steadiness by remembering that. Is this clear? Yeah.
I have some questions. In doing so, being in existence with awareness, you say, along the way, the layers will not be so persistent, but be more smooth
and eventually have no impact upon you.
Yeah, because you don't put your identity to it. My question is, emotions. Emotions is also connected to ego. For example, if you get angry in some situation, in life, in existence, in the being with other people, something can happen that make you emotional. For example, if you think something cruel is going on, you have to act, and in this way you have emotion.
Yeah.
And
why do you think emotions are ego-like, all of them?
Yeah, maybe not.
No. If you open to both your wings, you're becoming natural. Yes. So you're still identified with what it means to be spiritual. But beyond spirituality, you come back to naturalness.
Yes.
And naturalness is when you have opened to both wings. You know the essence, you are at peace with your ego, so you're at peace with life. And then you come back to the natural self. And the natural self has no definition of what is right or wrong. It feels and acts upon feelings. So when there is something cruel happening and you need to get angry and say, please stop that, and you take that person or that child and bring it out of that situation, it's very natural. There is no ego into that.
Okay.
It is still based on self-respect as a whole. You're acting for the respect of this child, and actually you're helping that person to stop behaving in that way, which is disrespectful. Having a cruel behavior is disrespectful. So if you let this happen because you're so spiritual and having no emotion, you're still lying to yourself.
Yeah.
So some emotions are natural, some emotions are based on ego. So some anger have for source ego, some anger have as a source a natural behavior. And some tears are natural, some tears are based on ego, any emotion, if you open to ego, that right wing, you become full of life. You're connected to life in the body-mind. And this is a natural expression, but from a healthy source. Huh? So whether you're angry, whether you're sad, or whether it's all okay, but you know if you look inside, you know if it has a room to be there or not. You know if it comes from your ego, or if it comes from it has a room there too. It has a place. This anger. Yeah.
May I ask? And just I'm trying to go deeper in it, in my understanding. What if a person gets angry with me, and I feel that that person did not understand what my intention was, but I meet the anger. The other person's anger, can that be natural, or is that natural when I'm knowing that this is not about me? Do you understand my question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then you have your answer. If you're clear, this is not about you.
Yeah.
The person anger is based on unclarity, which means the wound.
Yes. Yeah.
So in that sense, you can try to have a clearer communication and clear understanding. And if there is no room for clarification and understanding, to take distance.
So in this way, I have the right to, from my clarity, knowing this is not me.
Yes.
I have the right to be sure that the other person is reacting from the wound.
Yeah, it gives clarity into understanding relationships.
Yes.
And you know what is your responsibility or not. So it makes things very clear.
Yeah, actually.
And the more you recognize your ego, the more you come back to that steadiness, because you're clear. If you can be honest with yourself, you become very clear. Because if you can recognize all aspects of your ego and have no fear of your ego, you become very clear in relationships who is behaving based on ego or not. So that gives clarity. If you can be open with honesty, because any time in a troublesome relationship, you can recognize, oh, this is my fault now. This is my still my ego. And if you cannot recognize it, it means, I'm sorry, but that may be your ego, because I really looked inside and I don't see it. So if you have a lot of honesty, you can be sure that your position is clear.
Okay, it's quite a relief.
Actually,
it's great help. No,
and it makes you stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
But that strength should not be like, like imposing itself. Huh?
Yeah.
That strength should not be imposing itself. It is.
So in a way, just the last question. I hear it this way. It's about being able to know the truth about what is going on, and not so much as about always being able to be open. Because I hear you in this way. Once you have recognized that this is true, the two wings, and also the wings with the void and the emptiness and spiritual capacity, it's not always possible to have this open mind. But once having recognized that this is a natural way of life, is that enough?
When you can recognize you don't have an open mind here and now, you're into that open mind. Huh?
Yes.
It's not about what state you are into, it's what you recognizes. That open mind is what recognizes. So you can always be here and now when you recognize what is here and now as it is. You see that?
Yes.
Huh? It is not about reaching a place, because there is no place to reach.
Yes.
That which you have to reach is awareness of what is here and now. Huh?
Yeah.
What does awareness do? It is aware. But can you define awareness? Can we define awareness? It is nothing but catcher. It's a catcher of reality.
It was just what you read before.
Yeah. It just catches reality, but itself is nothing.
Yeah.
So it catches the void, it catches the fullness, it catches the anger, it catches this and that, and it catches I'm not open-minded now. But by catching I'm not open-minded now, you're into that openness.
And it's catching without doing.
It's catching and by catching and relaxing, having non-duality with what is here and now, doing happens, but in a natural way.
Yeah.
Your spontaneity happens. Your natural state, relaxation in action.
Yeah.
So that gives sense to the saying that you're not the doer.
In that sense, you're not the doer as ego.
Yes.
That place is this is a complicated this sentence I don't like because it is also a source of confusion.
Yes.
Because sometimes ego is a doer. You know that place, as I said, you can do whatever you want with it. It's a free gift. And you can use it any way you want. So when you're unconscious, ego drives you. Ego drives you. And ego is a doer. Based on the non-doer, which is awareness, it gives itself. And you can do whatever you want with it. So sometimes ego is a doer. But when you come back to, oh, okay, I see ego is a doer, you come back to the heart. And now who is the driver? The heart. That natural movement based on your inner relaxation. You relax and you feel. It's not the anger moving you. It's not the greed moving you. You see the greed and you say, okay, I relax. What if I have no fear? What do I want to do based on no fears? If I'm totally into trust, no fears can drive me. So it's not money that will drive me. It's not ambition that will drive me. It's a natural movement of feeling what is my nature and sharing it or doing it. So there is still the natural doer based on non-doing on this place that is nothing, based on awareness. So this doer, non-doer thing is a little bit of a tricky subject, and I prefer not to go into it because again the spiritual ego can use it to say I'm not the doer, and therefore it justifies all my ego behavior.
So it's not about reaching a state.
No.
But since when I meditate, sometimes it can happen that I am in that wing with the void, and I recognize awareness itself because it does itself. I have that understanding that this attitude or this experience is important to bring out in real life, in connection and relationships. But since you say, but if that is right,
And bringing in real life what? The void, emptiness in real life.
Yeah. That openness.
Yes.
That I have experienced.
Yeah.
I have that effort to bring that openness with me in real life, in my relationship. Now I think, is that a wrong way? Because then I'm making I have an awareness upon this.
But it's nice, it comes from the best intention. You want to keep being open-minded.
Yes.
So it's beautiful. It's switching on the light. Switching on the light is not forgetting who we are. So when in daily life we know, oh, I still may get a little bit close-minded there. I have really to try my best to keep that openness.
Yeah.
It's a natural movement.
Because
also.
I can remember how it was,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I try to once more. Yeah.
This, come back to the simplicity of answers within. This is a natural movement of the heart that understood who it is. I understood who I am, I understood who other people are. And there is absolutely no difference. Yeah. There is no one who's better or less or higher or lower. Yeah. Everybody is I actually. Everybody is you.
Yeah.
So when there is this understanding, naturally the heart tries its best. Yeah. Oh, I know I still have this tendency, but I try my best. It's a natural movement. I try my best.
Yeah.
So don't complicate things. Come back to the simplicity of thinking, of feeling.
I ask my questions. I'm trying to get to it. Yeah, and right now it's a help for me, this.
Yeah.
Because knowing who you are, I can be occupied with knowing who you are. Is that experiencing this awareness, or is it remembering it?
At the beginning, when you realize, wow, I am that, it's very present as a knowing,
yes.
as a knowledge.
Yes.
And it helps you to come back to it, to keep that openness.
Yes.
But once you've made peace with your ego,
Yes.
you don't need to think about anything, you know? You're like a child again. You do, you don't do, you fall, you die, it doesn't matter. It's so simple. You don't need to think at all. It's effortless. But before...
It's simple. So simple.
Yes, because you have one big key, honesty. That's the only thing. Open mind and honesty are the same, in a way.
Yes.
If you can, when there is a knot in your life again happening, there you remember.
Yeah.
There you make a little effort. Okay. What is this going on here? What is this my ego, my fear, my greed, my this, my that, my selfishness? Okay, I can be honest and recognize it. And that's being yourself again, you know? It doesn't matter, you're always yourself if you recognize what is here and now. But you don't have to put too much attention into it. Life shows you. Everything is flowing, fine. We have little, okay, what is going on? And I'm honest, so I can see it, I can recognize it, and that's it. And I flow again, and sorry for that, and how can we deal with that? Or I get really angry because get the hell out of my life. That's also spiritual. Naturally spiritual.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes you need to say that, to preserve harmony, actually.
Yeah.
So it's beyond all categorization of what is good and bad, what is proper behavior. There is no more proper behavior. There is spontaneity in action, knowing what to do according to circumstances. So there is no definition of how to be. Be yourself and feel the moment and behave according to what is the moment. And that is the way to be.
Yes.
Yeah?
So all our problems stem from the fact that we lived childhood.
Yes, by starting identifying with our thoughts, our emotions, our body. Puberty, we start feeling that sexuality growing, we start feeling a little bit, I become a little bit strange and different. We lose that sense of naturalness and we start developing ego. It's a natural
So
passage.
the rest of our life we try to go back to childhood.
Yeah. To that openness. You know, and be like a child. That's a perfect example. They fall, they get angry. 1 second after, they don't mind being with the same friend. Because it doesn't stick into you. But still, you know, sometimes they don't want to see a friend, And also they don't feel ashamed about it. It's natural. And this way they preserve harmony. Children know how to do that. But when they start having guilt or the good person inside them or fears, all this natural behavior starts to be lost. But the child is into that natural state. If it's not too conditioned too early, conditioning and memories start building up. And they start manifesting with identification. With identification, our karma starts going on. Because no karma is being rooted into that openness. Clouds come and go, but they don't get stuck and don't affect you. They cannot hold on to you. So there is no karma from the heart. You can walk, you know, like they say in the Buddhist, or I don't know what it is, you can walk on sand without any mark. Because you just listen to your heart. You respect yourself, you respect other people. There is no intention to hurt, and you're neither hurting yourself nor others. So that doesn't create any karma. Self-respect doesn't create any karma. But if you start identifying with ego, ding, you start excluding, or you start protecting yourself. And that's creating karma. A chain of attraction, reaction that creates certain events in your life when what is your ego manifest. So all that is manifesting is coming from there.
But I guess there's an idea in growing up because children aren't that easygoing always. Like my eldest grandchild got a little sister, she could kill her, and she actually tried it, but somebody didn't come between. So jealousy and all that stuff also plays a big role.
Yeah. They are born also with that program, huh? But you can see what is meant by still in the children. They have more of that natural openness than us adults conditioned. Huh? So they have a little bit more, but they also come with a genetic program. Huh? But it's less strong yet because the identification is less strong.
But they don't do it. I also wanted to kill my sister, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
But I guess there's a meaning that we had to grow up, or else we couldn't stay. Or could we stay as children all our life?
You know, it's a process, and it's a beautiful process. We have to go through ego to get out of it, and also to understand humanity. Because if you haven't crossed a little bit of suffering, how can you give room to suffering? You know, it will be completely going again into the left wing, into the emptiness, you know? I don't want suffering, you know, wow, this is nonsense, no, useless, you know? Oh, wow, this unpure people, unspiritual people, you know? So if you haven't gone into that part of the mind, you stick to the other wing, and actually there is no bridge with life, and actually there is no bridge between heaven and earth. So the bridge between heaven and earth is the heart. Otherwise there is no connection. So we need to have an ego and a little bit of suffering to come back to the heart, to create the heart actually. It's a product of both.
It's through suffering that people awake sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
It's very often the suffering that awakes people.
Yes. You need a little bit of dose, and this little dose of suffering, sometimes unfortunately big dose, because there is a lot also of unconsciousness. What to do? It's part of the freedom to use consciousness as we want, the freedom that consciousness gave itself, so that we understand the heart. But it's a freedom there. It's a gift, but that gift has freedom. That gift can go anywhere. It is not the fault of God, but it's a gift of God. I give you the gift of life. Try not to suffer too much, but it's a free gift. You can use me no matter how you want. So it's a free gift, and in that free gift, people became very, very unconscious. But it's still a perfect plan and game, with a lot of suffering, but it is still perfect, because even through that deep suffering, the opposite, everything is in duality, is in opposite force. So even through that deep suffering of unconsciousness, consciousness will grow even bigger and bigger also. There is an opposite reaction. So this is a perfect plan of reality to still awake us, no matter what. No matter what, we have to awake, because even the deep suffering is going to create a lot of light. They work together, they work as opposite forces. So it's a perfect scheme, but the force inside, the divine presence inside, is telling us, come on, wake up, wake up, wake up. Try not to go that far into suffering. Try not to hurt you guys so much. But can we listen to it? We don't often. So it's coming back to that inner presence and understanding suffering, understanding the will to kill. A child is open to the desire to kill without guilt. Understanding all is within who we are, but detaching from it without guilt, because we understand who we are. So giving a room to all these tendencies within us. The will to kill is also there sometimes. Sometimes we don't know all what is within us because we are not into the circumstances that will trigger that button. But who knows if you're into the circumstances that trigger the killer in you, or trigger the manipulator in you, or trigger the abuser in you, who knows what will happen from you. So depending on circumstances, we have the potential to become all these aspects, very hidden aspects of ego. Having an open mind to recognize all these aspects within us is unloading ego. So recognition of ego doesn't create a stronger ego. It is unloading it. And this is a fear that the empty wing has. And the empty wing has a fear of ego. Because he believes, oh my gosh, if I open to that, that heaviness, I will create even more heaviness. And it will open that box, and that's dangerous. But if you stay into that wing, you're missing life also, and you're missing the heart. So you need to go to that wing of ego from a place of understanding. And watching ego when you know who you are is not creating more ego, it's unloading it, unloading it.
And in a way, it's the opposite than what you usually say, because you usually say what you give your attention to is growing.
Yes.
And in this way, you give your attention to ego, but with understanding.
With understanding, so that's completely different.
Yes.
You give attention to ego from a place of consciousness. I know who I am. That's why it's so important to know who we are. That little place in the center. I give my attention, but I have conscious eyes. I'm awakened there.
Yes.
Huh? So I'm not afraid to watch ego. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel I'm judging it. You know, it is there, and it is within everybody, if they're honest and open completely to the certainty. Sometimes it's just a little, but you see it. It doesn't manifest into you. It's not active, but it can do. Ding, ding, ding. So these little movements of the mind are within all of us. And depending on circumstances, they can be more active. Oh wow, I didn't know these were there. Huh? And it is very important to realize that. So you give your attention from a place of awareness, and that's totally different. If you give attention to depression, thinking, I am depressed, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, yes, you will feel very depressed. But if you know, I have no problem, and I will stick to that, this is my true nature, that perfection is who I am. Not I am TV show, but that perfection is who everybody is. Huh? That perfection is who everybody is, truly. And from that recognition, not from that recognition with vanity, but from that just openness to the reality of your true nature, from that recognition, you can completely face depression, face madness, face jealousy, face all these layers of humanity within. It's not who you are, layers of humanity, programs, memories, manifesting within all of us. So by welcoming these layers, you're actually unloading them, completely unloading them, and helping the world, because there is no difference there.
Is it normal to feel like the feeling is going up when you are welcoming it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the more you welcome an emotion or ego, because it's been so suppressed, it's like a pressure cooker.
Because I was feeling like often actually it hit me today that the sign for suppression is often this, keeping stuff down, but I literally felt like you can either push it down or it can come up in a way like bubbles or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was really, and I was wondering if there is a correlation.
So when you go into avoiding facing ego, you go into the emptiness side. Huh? You put aside unconsciousness and all these sides of humanity within. You put it aside, you don't want to see it. And they keep, so that's what is unconsciousness. We are no longer aware of it. We don't even think this is within me.
Yeah.
There is no way some people can recognize they've been jealous, or they've been this, or they've been mean. They have no idea. It's completely into unconsciousness. They don't want to see it at all. But from unconsciousness, either they never feel good with themselves because there's still this weight in the background of the consciousness of the mind. There's still this weight. And either they don't feel good, or they pretend to feel good, but it's still a feeling that is not completely at peace inside. They never feel completely at peace inside. And this force, this unconsciousness is still driving them. And is still creating in their life events to welcome them, to open to that, so they realize we create suffering actually. Suffering comes from not willing to watch ego. That's a source of suffering. And it's not the opposite. If you know who you are, you can watch ego, and what happens? It comes as a wave, growing wave of emotion. up.
Yeah.
It comes up. You take out the lid of the boiling pan, pan and oh my gosh. So yesterday was a little bit like this. Yesterday we are all heavy, a little bit. We give room to it. In silence we give room to it. In true silence, which is just the open mind. We give room to it. So, and we feel, oh my gosh, but I don't lose who I am. So I completely say, okay, it will pass. If you lose who you are, it's like, oh my gosh, no, I want to run away. This is not a good place. I don't feel good. So this is still the mechanism of the mind to run away from facing these bubbles. I run away because I don't feel good. So ego always wants to feel good. But in that sense, it's always escaping these deeper layers. So let them manifest with conscious eyes. Let them grow within you, knowing, okay, it's still my mind, my little duck, trying to avoid that. I will give total room with openness.
How do you get the feeling you want to treat? You have thoughts about something, and you have emotions, and you have sensations in your body. But how do you work with it? You find out who you truly are, you say, and you go inside. Just when you start meditation, I understand. Yes, and but when you work.
Who are you? Let's go back to that first, huh?
Yeah?
Then we'll continue the
Okay.
question.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Who are you, Niels? Who are you? How would you define it?
There's nothing.
And this nothing, what quality does it have?
Peace.
Yeah. And
Neutral,
peace,
peace.
yes. And peace can watch everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Huh? Peace
Observe.
is an open observer.
Yeah.
Huh? So only that. Huh?
Yeah.
Is peace dependent upon the content of the mind? Huh? So if the content of the mind looks like peace as emptiness, is it peace itself? Is it true peace?
Emptiness.
Yes.
Yes. Isn't it?
If there is no attachment to it.
Yeah.
True peace has no attachment to peace.
Okay.
You see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Huh? So emptiness will come once you have real emptiness that gives room, endlessly room to everything. Because emptiness on that part of the wing still has used that energy and confined it within the mind, if I'm clear. You use the energy that is given and you keep it into your mind by excluding other aspects of reality. So you want to be alone, you want to be this, you want to not to have too many disturbing people around, because that's how you will stick to that emptiness. But there's still conditions. I'm not sure I'm so clear with that. But when we find true silence, that means we know that emptiness is within our true nature, that openness, that there is a quality, an essence within us. A feeling, we can feel it, wow, beautiful and spacious, and a feeling of feeling good inside. But when from that place we also open to the other wing and welcome all that is as ego, you come to that place where true silence can still have that movement, and it doesn't matter. It will eventually completely be empty. The seeds of ego don't just pop their head but don't have any power. So at one point you become into that real emptiness that is a steady space of openness. You're steady in your openness. The ego can manifest, but it doesn't have too much power. So this is now real emptiness, but that real emptiness has no judgment about ego, no fear about looking at it, and no fear of attachment about a special state. So you had to go to that wing to come back here in the center, when you're free from both. But it still has a quality of emptiness, but now emptiness that is open to fullness, and doesn't exclude anything, like this pseudo-emptiness on that wing. Is this clear? Yeah.
Yes, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not there. But we must go as far as we can. Get as near to it as we can.
Yes.
If we start there, and then you should treat you're feeling, or you have you could say, I'm worrying, and I feel sad, and I have this sensation in my body.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to treat in self-inquiry, as I understand. Yes.
Yeah,
You want to get rid of it, or to become so become neutral to this problem you have, isn't it so?
Yes, as long as it disturbs you. But the problem is not a problem if it doesn't disturb you.
No, okay, but when you you can also, if we talked about projection, if you have this negative projection, so you could say, my neighbor is perfectionist, and you could say, and then you could go to yourself and say, it takes one to see one, or what we say, yes. But how to work with that? Then I'm a perfectionist myself, you could say. But if we then start self-inquiry, how do we do then?
So come back to your body.
Yeah.
So this neighbor, what does it trigger in you? How do you feel?
Yes, but I'm sure that I am myself a perfectionist, and I see it in her.
Yeah. So the story about the neighbor is not a problem.
No.
When we work with the self-inquiry, it's all about what the story...
And it's not all of her that's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
She's also a nice woman.
Yeah. But all of that doesn't matter.
No.
What does matter to work with self-inquiry is what it does to you inside.
Yes.
So you come back in your body-mind.
Yeah.
And what does story, how does it make you feel? I feel. Or what does it make identify you with? I am not clear enough with them, or I'm not this, or I'm not, or I am, we define a story, brings a certain identification on the stage, an old identification. And it brings a certain feeling, I feel something. So self-inquiry, when we are stuck with a story, it's looking inside and finding this feeling and this identification. I feel something, I feel annoyed, and we start there. I feel annoyed. If it's true, we'll be stuck in your body somewhere. So we start by feeling it. Where is I feel annoyed? You feel annoyed by that neighbor?
No, not by the neighbor is all right, but I think I have it's a shadow in me, of course, or isn't it so that when you see this with another person, you should think, I have a shadow. Yes. And I want to treat that shadow, or no, not to treat, but to become conscious of that shadow, so that I can live better with it. But if we have this perfectionist, you could say that there are feelings also to be a perfectionist, because you have to do something, and if you don't, then you can get some feelings in it, and treat it by self-inquiry, I imagine.
Yeah, but I see we are a little bit turning around the pot here.
Okay.
Because there is two different things. There is sometimes projections are not projections. There is a blue thing here, and there is a green plant, and there is a black cup. Whatever it is, recognizing the quality as it is, or what is in front of my eyes, doesn't mean that I project. Sometimes we have the clarity to see things as they are. I have a perfectionist neighbor who's annoying, but it doesn't mean it's my problem. That person has such an ego. It's okay, I understand it, but that person has a certain ego, and that's fine. I can recognize it. Now, from that clarity, I can feel what to do. I can even, from that clarity, get angry, because sometimes it's enough. It needs to understand it. From that clarity, you know what is a clear behavior. But what I hear is that you're not so clear who is who. Whether it comes from your ego, and you should always look at everything around, or not. So that's where we can be confused. And that's where the body is a good checking point. If in the body there is no knots, no tension, when you think of that situation, if that situation has an impact into you, into your body, that means your ego is involved. And then you can check in how. If it's really a knot that comes back and comes back and comes back, there is something to understand and heal a little bit. So we don't want to keep our life, being difficult. So naturally, we can check in. So you check in. Let's do that with this neighbor. Do you feel annoyed? I'm annoyed.
Oh yes, I think I understand now. Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
So if there is annoyance in the body, there is your ego.
Yeah. And that's.
But sometimes there is that's not so easy, because sometimes it's natural annoyance. Someone who steps on your feet and crash you again and again and again, you feel naturally annoyed. Huh? There is
So
natural
you should
anger.
react.
There is a natural anger coming out. Please, come on, 10 times you've been walking on my feet. I mean, please, get out a little bit and stay in your garden.
You just react.
Yes.
And then you just react.
So that's natural. Huh?
That is we all.
And it will be beneficial for everybody to set boundaries at one point. So it's not even, you have to find the load. It's about the load. How loaded we feel inside. Because some anger are natural, but it's not really loaded. You still like that neighbor, or you understand that person, but you still feel it's better to react now. Enough is enough. So there is a movement of anger or something, but it's not so loaded. You're not hating that person. You're still, this person is still in your heart. You understand.
I think it's more practical for me, because when I read about this self-inquiry, there are thoughts that disturbs you and emotions and sensations in your body. But now I probably see that it's the most important thing is the sensation in your body, and that's what you should go into. Is it so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not the thoughts.
No.
It's not the emotion. It's the sensation, and you should take as much as you can of that, as long as it's necessary, and then it disappears.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I think I understand better now.
And self-inquiry comes first from finding where all these emotions come from. So by meeting, if a situation is annoying, beyond the thought, beyond everything gets summarized as a feeling inside, as an emotion. So you check in this emotion. Is it very loaded? How does it feel? Not so much, actually. The annoyance is a little bit here, but I breathe. And what do I end up with? The same openness and that awareness that is a watcher. And this is who I am. Not to lose that. Self-inquiry is to come back to who you are. Self-inquiry is to see that everything comes and goes, emotions, thoughts, except that awareness, that contact place with what is here and now. So in allowing the emotion, you're actually contacting it. You're actually being yourself, awareness. So this is self-inquiry because you're in contact with your inner reality. And what remains is truly you. Even if the cloud stays, you have watched it. And there is a watcher and there is what you're watching. So don't lose that. Self-inquiry, no matter what stays or goes inside your field of perception, is to come back to the watcher inside, to the place that is a knower, that knows what's going on. That place of contact with what is here and now. So that is what is important. In that contact, we give room for that heavy cloud to go. It will come back, but hey, I know who I am. And this is my steadiness, my steady open mind that knows the difference between a cloud and the sky. And that sky is open, it gives attention to the cloud, but it doesn't lose itself. So the cloud cannot overwhelm you. There is that little distance of freedom from that cloud. That is self-inquiry. I know who I am. And then I welcome, I contact. And if I don't have to contact all the time because we feel, but if we know who we are, and the more we know who we are, the less the clouds can stay. Because I feel them and they go, I feel them and they go, and they come back and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, really. It comes to that awareness, it doesn't matter. And so there is a true feeling of well-being because it's not dependent upon how you feel. It's not dependent about how you feel. There is room for everything. So that is self-inquiry. But when you feel a big emotion, a knot into your life, a strong sensation in your body that you cannot evacuate, get contact with honesty with what is going on. Just be honest. And that honesty, at one point, will dissolve the cloud. Okay, I'm mad, I'm angry again, I'm again. And at one point, the mind gets tired of seeing. And you want, at one point, naturally, you want to get rid of it. It's so annoying that it comes by. And it will reach in the same way as an emotion. The thoughts and the mechanism of repetition will reach a climax where, that wave has come to that point, and then it's enough. And actually, it will collapse. So give that room to everything, even to the madness of thoughts coming back. Wow, but don't judge yourself. It's part of the process. And at one point you're so tired of it will go. Because there is a natural tiredness of watching the mind, recognizing it. and okay, but gosh, so tired of it. Okay. Same as the wave of emotion. Or one time you feel you're going to die. The other time there was someone feeling, oh my gosh, even vomiting, even something, that wave of emotion based on nothing. Old memories is like a wave of vomit inside sometimes. So it reaches a climax and you allow it without panicking and suddenly it's gone because you give total room to it. So that's the beauty of embracing without panicking. And even allowing panic to come because you are aware. So there is still no panic into the panic.
It's so beautiful the way you describe it. Because I can also see for myself that I have been very much on the path of emptiness and nothingness and meditating and really believe that was the way, that was realization when you were like nothing and empty. And the world is just an illusion and all that. And then it has been a difficult time because life naturally comes with the other wing to look at inside. And then I really have felt like I did something wrong. Then why this emptiness, this peace, is just suddenly emotion comes and something is really wrong. So I felt like that, and also like meditation should be like, going into the nothingness and bliss of total, like the void. So now and today I saw that I was sitting here in the morning and I just really relaxed in my system. Something came like just relax, and then tears just came. And something was like holding back, and this resistance. I saw that when I resist, the mind get power, because then a lot of thoughts comes, and that's how I can avoid some emotions is going into the thoughts. And then I just looked at it, and I was like, it's a little bit of this conditioning with the spiritual ego. You have to look happy. and what about it? And I saw it and I was just like, hell no, and I was just crying, but there was not the story. It was not like, because I also felt like, oh no, people think I'm very sad, but I was not sad, it was just crying, because that was how something needed
to release.
Yes,
to be released.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just eating and crying. And it was actually very nice, because it was just like, it was like natural, like I don't have to have a story, because tears are coming. And I don't have to identify with it either, it's just okay. So it was really like, yeah. So it, yes, so
and true emptiness exists, but it always gives room to fullness.
yes.
That is true emptiness. Otherwise it's an emptiness that has been manipulated. Like that free gift we get. It can be manipulated within our body-mind as a state of consciousness. The true emptiness, the glass gets filled up, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't touch you. That's true emptiness. But there is an open container. Open container.
That emptiness exists and gives room for fullness.
Yes.
You say that.
Yeah.
The emptiness that exists, isn't it automatically filled with existence? Just by knowing.
It is filled, huh?
It is filled.
Yeah.
So it is not. There's a kind of separation to say that it exists as pure emptiness. And when it gives room for fullness, there is a kind of process. And this is my question. Is that true? Isn't it so that emptiness itself is a realization of who you truly are?
Yes, it is a realization of who you truly are, what is permanent, always permanent within
Yes.
you, awareness.
Yes.
But when you see who you truly are, you see that awareness is absolutely a free gift. It is one with what it watches and knows. Huh? So that empty space is giving itself fully to life, you know, because it has room for life.
Yeah.
So it is one with life and yet free from life.
Yeah.
Because it can never be, it is permanent. So it's like a little diamond jewel within every little cell. Within every little cell there is a space that cannot change. And it knowing and feeling every little cell. So it is within everything and with everything, because there is no rejection of anything. So
Yeah.
within every little cell of the angry man, of the monster, of the playful one, of the blissful one, there is a little space that is the same. A little knowing space. This little voice we hear is within every little cell, in every form, because there is no rejection of anything.
Yeah.
So it is one with every form, but
Yeah.
yet the form can go, it remains.
Yeah.
As a holding,
So,
knowing space.
so in this way, isn't it true, you are talking about an essence
Yes.
that is
yes.
permanent?
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Essence
everything.
is permanent in everything and one with everything, but yet free from everything.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
if we don't, that's why it gives itself. We can make whatever we want out of it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. But then it is not, even though it's in everything and permanent and free from everything, then logically there must be something that is not included, because that is what is going on in this emptiness, and fill it.
There's something that is not included.
Yeah, in a way I feel a contradiction,
Yeah.
because this essence
Yeah.
of pure emptiness
Uh-huh.
that is permanent in everything and gives room for everything is separated from something, because it correlates with this fullness that it is capable of being filled with. You understand?
Yes. It is only separated when you don't recognize it. It appears as separation. It only appears as separation when you don't recognize it. Because it is at the core of of life. In every cell of life it is at the core.
Yes.
So it is one with, but it has a different nature. But it doesn't mean separated.
Yeah.
It is an open space,
Yeah.
including it.
Yeah.
But that open space is different from matter.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. And usually I perceive this as it is the creator of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is
Yeah.
still right.
Yeah. It is completely the essence giving rise to everything.
Yeah.
And it has to give itself and give that freedom for manifestation in life to happen.
Yes.
So there is a bridge between life and spirituality, life and essence.
Yeah.
Huh?
So in this way it's a dynamic essence.
It is an essence that is steady and gives room for movement.
Yes. Yes.
Huh? and is one with the movement, but in its own steadiness.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But all of that doesn't matter. Huh?
Oh.
But what we have to recognize is that there is something permanent, and we have access, we can access it anytime within our body-mind. I feel that, who feels that? I don't know, who doesn't know? I feel scared, who feels scared?
Mm.
Who knows?
Mm.
Who knows all of that? There is always, beyond any experience, I know a high state of consciousness, I know bliss, I've experienced that spiritual experience. Who knows that? Not to be caught into any realm of consciousness, either low or high, not to be caught into any state of consciousness. Know who knows what is going on. And if you find what is going on, you find it's the same space that never changes. It simply is pure awareness, knowing what is going on. Only that. An open space that knows what is going on.
Yeah.
I know high state, I know low state, but still there is a knower.
Yeah.
And this is the open, pure open mind,
Yeah.
beyond any experience.
Yeah. But when you say all of this, it doesn't matter, you say, but when we sit on our pillow for hours and meditate, to go into that part of it with emptiness and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there is a meaning to that, I think then you cannot say that it doesn't matter, because that is, in a way, is that the word, sustaining, is that the word? The contact or the perception of pure consciousness, isn't that true?
Yes, the pure consciousness is just a watcher. It's not a
Yes.
state of emptiness.
Yes,
But who knows emptiness? Pure consciousness.
Yes.
Huh? So
Yes.
that's still a little difference. Who
Yeah,
knows
that's true.
emptiness? Who knows the void? Pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is just that little place that gives room to everything. Huh?
Yeah.
And it is good to meditate sometimes because we give room to what is. Huh? The meditator, like you said, I think, can be feminine. It's not you last time I once said so?
Yeah,
Huh?
this place.
The meditator can be feminine when it just, meditation is just a space to face whatever is coming up with no expectation and no attachment to whatever is coming up. Huh? So this is a feminine meditation, and it is wonderful because you meet what is, and when you meet a wonderful state of consciousness, you fully enjoy it, but you don't get attached to it. Huh? If the masculine is catching up the meditation, it will use it to just want to reach and stay into that place, and therefore avoid any other thing. So the feminine meditator is giving room to everything, and that's beautiful. You connect with your essence, and you relax with what is here and now, without identifying and attaching to anything.
So in this way, there are two things going on in meditation. Giving room to what is and what comes, and let this openness be open. I think that is containing this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then there is pure consciousness and giving room to what is.
So in a way, it's a time for no movement and no lies. That's what is meditation. I sit, I stop, avoiding and running away from my life. I sit and I face what is here and now. That is meditation. And I know, you have to, the real purpose of meditation is to find the knower of what is going on. But this we know, self-inquiry, we've done it, we know, there is the watcher. So you watch, and you enjoy whatever is, either that emptiness, but you know that is still a state within who you are. There's still a watcher of emptiness.
Yes.
So you don't get caught by it.
Yes.
You don't get caught by any wing, ego or emptiness and bliss. You don't attach. You enjoy the ride, but you don't attach. You don't define it as I am that. Not even that. I'm just pure awareness.
Yeah, the watcher.
The watcher.